Yo, yo.
What's going on, Brody?
What's good, buddy? Chilling,
What's up,
chilling,
man?
man. So what's going on right now, man? What you up to?
Man, just chilling,
Yeah, yeah,
sitting in the house, quarantining.
yeah, yeah. Hell yeah. Shit, man. How's that shit like been affecting you? Like the quarantine? How you been like staying safe and shit?
Um, I ate the family pet the other day
Oh,
because
yeah.
the resources are tight and
Yeah.
it looked good. No, man. I just been hanging in there, bro. I feel
Yeah.
like it's definitely changed how everything is moving, and parenting's a lot different, and just day to day. Now I'm used to tattooing every single day. This has
Yeah.
been it was a vacation at first. Now it's like, all right,
Do you miss work?
I do, man. I do. I can't lie.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy, man. So like, what do you think of like what do you think this quarantine stuff all means, man? Like with the sickness and everything. Like how do you view this shit? You know?
Wake up call, like a curveball.
Yeah.
I unexpected.
Yeah.
Can't and the more I look at it, at first it was like kind of I don't know, I kind of took it lightly. Then I started looking at how it's gonna affect like my son's life, and I'm like,
Mm.
yo, his life's forever gonna be changed,
How do you
from
how do you think that's gonna be? Like, what do you mean? Like his life's gonna be affected?
I just would have I can imagine that there's gonna be some things that are just different, moving forward.
Yeah.
I can't necessarily predict them, but I don't know. There's gonna be a lot. I feel like this is gonna create like a phobia where
Yeah.
people like are a little bit afraid of each other.
Yeah.
Um, but
You been to Walmart lately, bro?
bro,
What's it like?
not for me. Not for me. I feel like Walmart was a little rowdy, but Publix. I went in Publix the other day, and it was just too much. There was
Yeah.
like arrows of every way to go, and it was like packed though. So like people were like, "Oh, it was wild. It was just
Yeah.
too much." There was
Crazy.
multiple times like, I got to the like register, and my milk was like just leaking. Like I picked up one of the ones with the holes in it. I'm like, I'll take it.
I'll
It's,
take it.
it's
Put it upside
mine.
down, right?
She's like, you can go grab another one. I was like, over my dead body. There's no way. No, it was it,
Like,
it was too much.
have you ever heard of that? Like the 4K stuff. The 5K stuff that everybody's talking about. Like the that how this shit
5G,
gets.
the five
Yeah,
G
the
thing.
5Gs. Yeah,
Oh,
the
you
five
you
G
want to
thing.
go there?
Yeah, bro. Hey, what do you think about that shit, man? Like they talking about like the radiation from like cell phones
Making
and
us sick.
towers and stuff, or making people sick.
I don't know, man. I think that there's like a lot of stuff that we do that we don't know how it's going to affect us later, and we find out later. But like as far as the virus goes, like there's plenty of places that don't have, I'm sure, 5G or 5G testing where this
Yeah,
like was
it's effective,
wild.
right?
Yeah, for sure,
Yeah,
for sure.
that's crazy. So man, like you let the people know where you from, man, and like let them know like what your city means to you. You know what I'm saying?
My name is Marcus Thompson. I'm from Houston, Texas. Uh, I'm 18 years old, and it just is what it is at this point.
Yeah, he truly is 18 years old. You know what I'm saying?
No. My name is Jordan, aka Dollars, and I'm from Tampa, Florida, and I tattoo.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to talk with my friends.
Like
Yeah.
the city of Tampa, like coming up here, like being a native and stuff. Like, what's it like? You know what I'm saying? Because like me, I'm from Cleveland. You know, I came out here like probably like I would say like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And like the transition of like a native coming here, like compared to like seeing people that I know here that are actually natives. Like, what's it like being like growing up from here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like from
Yeah.
nowhere.
I was like completely oblivious to it until I started to travel a little bit more. And I
Mm,
started to see that like, yeah, that really does influence like who you are as a person.
mm,
And I found that, yeah, I'm heavily influenced by being from here as far as just the pace at which I feel like we take life. I think that's the biggest variable that changed from place like to place that I went.
mm,
And also like what people were striving for in life. I
mm.
feel like that was huge. There's cities where there's like the dream is like just a little crib, and like that's it. Like
Yeah,
everything else is optional. And then there's other places where it's like I need a yacht.
yeah.
So it's crazy to see how much. And then Florida is just like
Mm.
We're just chilling,
What's
huh?
your
Yeah.
what's been like one of the other places besides like Florida, like in Tampa and shit that you like enjoyed when you actually went? Like,
I grew to like New York, California. I like wow, that was cool. But I
yeah.
feel like I do think it's a little tainted because first off, like the grass is always greener, right? Like,
Hmm.
you always wonder what it's like other places. But as far as like being from there and having that perspective,
Hmm.
like it varies so much
Yeah.
that like I don't know. For me, it's just like I like seeing as many places as possible, and I want to go more, and not just like the main spots, but like where things are different.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So like, what's it like being a tattoo artist in 2020?
This far, we get this big 2 month like vacation in the middle in the middle of life. No, honestly, the demand is crazy. But not tattooing, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
it's tough because you're just kind of watching it. And then also, a lot of us are like independently contracted and things like that, or we're small business owners. And it's definitely taking a hit on the industry for sure.
Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. Shit. So as far as like music right now, man, like what are you listening to? Like what's it like? What are you rocking with right now?
Oh man. It has some range, but it's how do I put it? Like I like some ignorant shit. I really
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I do. I like stuff that just gives you bad ideas. But anyways, no, I like a lot of the like these young kids for energy music and like anything that my son can kind of vibe with.
Mm.
I don't know. Listen, I really consume everything right now. If it comes out, I'm listening. And I like all these like Instagram DJ battles and stuff. This is kind of cool too. Dope for the culture.
What do you think like how does music influence your tattooing? And
Uh,
do you think that like there's an influence like, from like the musical like aspect of like art?
I Yeah, I think like first off rhythm, right?
Hmm.
Like I think that whatever it is you do, you kind of find like a groove and it becomes like kind of second nature, right? So like I think music has that same thing that people even down to people dancing, right? It just kind of happens. It's and like when you find that in any art form, I think that's just like the dopest thing.
Yeah.
Um, and then also I listen to music like 8 to 9 hours a day while I'm tattooing. So,
Yeah.
like I said, I'm consuming a lot of stuff. But lately, it's been the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Just ignorant.
It's
I'm
crazy.
with it.
So like, what do you think about like drugs and like how it influences like the entertainment industry, like with the passing of like all these artists with like like down the Juice World and all of that stuff. Like, what do you think
Yeah.
like how drugs affect artists like now in this generation?
Um. I mean, like it's crazy, but like I don't know. Some people find it healthy, like things like, for example, like Snoop Dogg. You
Mm.
kind of look at his lifestyle. He's probably gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Like it just is what it is. There's, I think it varies. I think with youth comes like a lot of abuse of like everything. You get your hands on. It's just like when you give a kid like chocolate for the first time. They
Yeah.
eat too much of it and they get sick and they go crazy. But as you become an adult, you just know it's like an indulgence, right?
Yeah.
I think that, oh God, that sounds so bad. Whatever it
Yeah.
is. No, I mean like it kind of it's that, but you hear really sad
Do you think
stories
it's
out
like
there.
a sense of like therapy? I guess like that's what these people were like leaving
Yeah,
for.
coping with their minds. I mean, it's not much different than like pharmaceuticals, right? Like, yeah, if a kid is bipolar, they put them on like medication, so it's drugs. So
Yeah, for sure.
I guess ADHD, right? Adderall, or I don't know how that works, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Shit, man. So it's 2020, man. What's the Facebook relationship status of Dollars? Jordan's
Uh,
Ginsburg.
it's just busy. It's just
Yeah.
busy. It's just busy in quarantine. That's it.
So are you in a relationship right now? Or are you single, man? What's the status?
That's crazy. I'm losing you over the left one.
I'm losing, I'm
You know,
losing
and
it. Just just wanted to know your relationship status. Are you in a relationship, or are you booed up? You
did I
been through
take
this
a
quarantine?
did I take a shit today?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was this morning after
yeah,
breakfast. But no, I mean I'm just focused, man.
yeah,
That's the status. Honestly, I'm grinding. I'm trying to figure out life and
yeah,
be a grown up,
yeah,
especially during this quarantine. How
yeah,
you like that answer?
yeah.
Mm.
So, so what's the most craziest shit you could ever you've ever done, bruh? You know, like what's the craziest shit that you probably done and you're not proud of, bro?
Oh man, you're taking it there. You're
Yeah,
going there. Oh man.
cause there's stories, bro. Like I said,
I know, I know. All right, so background knowledge for everybody out there. This young man's been around me for a long time, so he's seen some of the darkest moments. Let's double back to that one. Let me put
yeah,
some thought into that one because
yeah,
there's some bad ones.
yo,
Oh gosh, I had to see the comments lighting up. Better pass on that.
yo. So on like more positive shit, bro. Like,
Hit me.
what's the best piece of advice you feel like you've gotten? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, in my life,
Yeah.
in my life, I've gotten so much. Man, you know what's funny? As you get older, I feel like the best advice sounds like common sense.
Mm.
And I've been hearing it my whole life, and it's just like, yeah, whatever, whatever. And then it's like, oh, that makes sense. I hate it. It gets tougher. Um, Let me think, man. Best advice. I mean, I could break it down into so many different categories, like
Like
health,
something
wealth,
that you feel like
relationships.
that
What are
like
you seeking? Which information?
I
You know?
think it would be more like along the lines of like something that you feel like you can use like you use every day. Like
Oh man.
yeah. Like what type of advice that you feel like has impacted you to the point where like you're impacted every day by it. You know what I'm saying?
Um, Be kind, rewind.
Yeah.
um, no, honestly, bro. Oh shit. So, man, there's so many, but they do sound really generic. They're all like tattoo,
Yeah.
tattoo phrases and quotes. Which
Yeah.
one do you want? Ah, Yo, this is really, really
Yeah.
difficult now that I think about it. Because there's so much, like I'm trying to think. That's almost like asking me like, what's the most important thing in life? Um,
Yeah.
uh, I think the golden rule. There you go. Boom. We were taught it as kids, right?
Yeah.
Do unto others as you would do unto yourself. That kind of, if you treat other people like, the way you'd want to be treated, I guess shit would be
So basically
better.
like duality and
There you
shit.
go. Boom. All right, no, so there you go. If we want to get more intellectual, right? Like
Mhm.
the perspective, right? Being able to place yourself in another person's shoes and like I think it helps you understand another person and when you can do that, like because I use it a lot with tattooing, right? Like somebody will come in and you kind of got to put yourself in their perspective to understand the art that they're looking for sometimes.
Yeah.
So it definitely, that's a major key. Just,
Mhm.
all
So
the time.
what is your thoughts on like college right now too in like 2020 like I know you went to college and shit, bro, and like how do you feel about where this is going and shit, and like how
Yeah.
this is college even worth shit right now? Like
All
what's
right.
the deal?
Well, first off, like for things like the medical program in itself, right? Like it's essential. I definitely. I mean, I don't think that you can become. I don't think you can necessarily just become a doctor by trade necessarily.
Yeah, yeah,
Like yo, I learned it from my cousins in the garage, and I'm like, I mean, I'm sure you'd save a life or two, but like it would be really hard to make like a difference, in the world. Um, but as far as like, with entrepreneurship, we're on a really cool time just because so many people I mean, from young ages are learning how to use this social media stuff and make it benefit them.
mm.
And when you learn that like so young, you're doing business, it's its own form and you're
What do
learning
you think
principles,
what do you think the disconnect is when it comes to like learning how to do business to people that don't understand it?
Oh man, so that's another one of those perspective things I feel like I've kind of struggled with, right? So I think that you learn from the examples you see within your lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're somebody who's never seen or met anybody who's ever owned a business, it's hard to understand that perspective, right?
Yeah.
Like you'd really have to be reaching, or consuming information that's teaching you. So I think the biggest, disconnect is just people's ability to get, because like I could ask you like, think about like tattooing, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's probably a lot of people who would be good tattoo artists that just like there's a disconnect between them and actually getting there. They want to, but like it just hasn't worked out or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of works in a similar fashion, access, what you have, the information you have access to kind of is going to sculpt you. And today we're in a cool time, but still,
Yeah.
I learned with like the soap that my partner and I opened that like you kind of had to learn the lingo or you couldn't do anything within that industry because if you don't know what you're asking for, it's hard to get it. And
Yeah. That's crazy.
yeah, I'm definitely
Yeah.
I'm learning that a lot like now. I
Yeah.
used to want to do everything, but I'm like, man, if I don't even know how to ask for what I'm
Yeah.
asking for, that makes it really difficult.
Yeah. That's crazy. So like tattooing and stuff like that, man. Like, where's the craziest place you've ever tattooed?
Like on the body.
No, like location
Oh,
wise.
location wise.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right, so I'll get a little dark for a minute. All right, so there's a few. I might have to break it down into a rating system. Um, when I first started tattooing, and I knew no better, put this out there. So like the area we had to work with was really tight, and this sounds really bad now, but at the time it was kind of a standard, where people tattooed really close to each other. But we kind of ran out of room, so sometimes like tattooing in the hallway near the bathroom
Mm.
was kind of like if we both had to lay a client down, it was the only possible way. That was pretty bad. But we graduated out of that very quickly, thank God. Yeah. Uh,
As far as like tats, like what's the craziest thing you've probably ever put on somebody?
oh man. There's a few, but like almost everything I did on the show Tattoo Far was pretty out there. I mean, I tattooed a huge like rainbow penis on a dude's belly, and that's wild. Like
Yeah.
couldn't even have thought up that idea. It
Yeah.
was like yeah, with pot of gold for like
Yeah.
it was wild.
So for like the show stuff, did you drew all the artwork that you tattooed and stuff like that?
I'd say let's say like co-designed. It would be a concept that was put together. Some things were very specific,
Mm.
like if it's a portrait, it's kind of, is what it is. But there were some artistic freedoms,
Yeah.
as long as like certain criteria was met and we were able to, convey whatever idea the person had.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy, man. What would you say like has been your experience with like before the TV and like now after the TV stuff? Like how does it change you being a public figure? Like what do you see the change in that stuff? You know what I'm saying? Like yeah.
I feel like most of the change comes with the people you already knew,
Mm.
right? So like, not that life is normal, but like at least at this scale, I'm sure it's different for like people who are really, out there. But like, uh, the people that you've known all your life tend to treat you differently versus, just other people. But I mean, it makes for a really cool introduction. It's cool, drink
Mhm.
and talk and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you do find that it makes you a little bit, I guess, more, I guess, easily accepted.
Mm. Okay. Yeah, I think man, like the whole TV stuff in the industry with like I don't know, I guess the entertainment shit, it just kind of feels like it's I like the idea of like entertainment and TV and stuff like that, but then you hear so much shit about it being tainted. Like, what do you think about like how
It
like
it'll always be all right. So like, if a dude does like a cartoon strip for a newspaper and it's like politically driven, usually the person who drew it's like opinion is in there, right?
hmm
So like, it's art, right? Just like music. Um, yeah, songs usually preach the perspective of who's creating it, and I think that it kind of works across the board. So like when you're doing TV, there's a certain demographic you're trying to entertain, and like for example, I want you to think about this. Like there's shows that like just show clips of people like doing goofy stuff or messing up like on the internet, right?
Mm.
And like if you think about it, before the internet, that was just like making fun of people for their fuck ups.
Yeah.
Now today, it's like that's entertainment. Like who
Mm.
doesn't like watching, somebody fall off their bike or like, well, it just is what it is. It's kind
Yeah.
of like so. I think that it's on your perspective again. You can look at it as like, oh, they want me to think this way, or you could look at it as like, hey, I'm just like consuming entertainment. It's not really swaying
Mm.
my.
How do you feel about like the pay grade between like basketball players and like nurses and people that are at the front line and shit right now?
Yeah, actually, so I don't want to take anything away from athletes because I know that like you generate like part of that is coming from like what you do, like it's demand. So if a lot of people like watching football and spending money on memorabilia and things like that, you should be entitled to a portion of your earnings. However, I do think we should like revisit like as a society like anybody working in the medical field, and how that pay scale works.
Mm.
But like, cause you gotta think about it, man. That's a tough, tough gig. Like,
Yeah.
and if you compare some of those salaries,
Yeah.
like I would much rather be like the pitcher on a baseball team who never has to throw a ball,
Yeah.
and like, it just sounds like much easier work.
Yeah.
And I see somebody wrote as well, and teachers, absolutely, same
Yeah.
thing. You're raising people's kids for them to a certain extent.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Just to think about like I don't know, just grand scale of things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, let me see. What we as far as like music and stuff, music videos, because like I'm a music video director, right? Like I like to shoot music videos and commercials and stuff. What what has been a music video to you that has stand out within the last like 10 years? That's like your favorite of all time that you can go back to and be like, yo, this music video is my favorite. If you had one
Ooh.
that you can watch like for the rest of your life, which one would it be?
That's tough. Yeah,
Just
bro. For
one,
the rest
bruh.
of my
Just one.
life,
Just one.
I don't know that I've ingested music videos like that because I just think of like the coolest
Man.
ones I've seen recently. But yo, you make me watch anything forever. I'm gonna go crazy.
Okay, but okay,
No.
if you could watch one music video for the next month, which one would it be?
All right, so I do like artsy stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
like a lot of Eight Boogies and Roddy Rich's videos have been pretty cool. I
Mm-hmm.
like that. They have that song Tiptoe, and that video's got all kinds of like CGI and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's fire.
Yeah,
Um, NLE, he's got a cool one.
yeah.
But yeah,
That fucking a boogie shit was crazy, man.
it's
That
cool.
drowning shit with
Yeah,
the
oh, that was cool too.
stuff. Yeah,
Underwater, yeah, the
yeah.
piano.
That's crazy stuff.
That's,
So as far as like video production and stuff, and like, what's it like working with a full crew of people on a set and stuff?
yeah, that's crazy. It really is. It just shows you how like how many hands on deck it takes to like make something that we deem to be really cool.
Yeah.
And like I've seen like I've tried to do so much stuff just by myself in my lifetime.
Mm.
And when you see like that level of production and everybody investing so much time and energy and all that stuff into one project, it
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes you think about like, dang man, like that doing business at that level like is
Yeah.
really it's more than a team effort. Like you have to really be able to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah, like I bet it could be man, like I could see each crew having their own specific like team of certain things and stuff. The operation of these like shows and stuff, they're huge, man. They're like big budget stuff, but I definitely, man, I enjoyed what the video shoot that we ended up doing at it was NBC
Yeah,
radio
oh yeah, that's at
station.
that little TV station. That was
Yeah,
cool. That was
it was
definitely
awesome, man.
dope.
Wicked Kid, man. He's like, he was there. He was shooting some of the behind the scenes and B-roll and stuff of what we were doing over there, and that was pretty cool. As far as like your favorite moments and stuff like of the TV show, of the last one that you just recently did, what would be like your highlight moments of like some of the craziest shit that you've seen out there? You know what I'm saying? Like
In
stories
a
with the
good
cast,
way or
stuff like
good?
that.
Oh man, yeah. No, the cast was dope. Like we
Yeah.
definitely did. We did a lot of like we did some partying together. We hung out.
Mm-hmm.
We all used to like go to the rooftop of the hotel and draw
Yeah.
together. So that was also like super dope.
Yeah.
Um, we had a lot of experiences. We just did stuff, and I feel like compared to here, I kind of do what is comfortable and is the norm, and everything up there was like different. It was kind of new. So
And then
that was
like,
dope.
what do you think about like the expectation too of like you getting to a place and not having any expectations, like, and this is all like you going to the set and something like I know in the Best Ink stuff you were they put you on a billboard and you were hanging and stuff and you were spray painting stuff.
Oh yeah, that was
Yeah,
wild,
like what is your mindset going into some shit like that where it's like, yo, I
bro.
cannot expect no
I
shit like
could
this.
think I could think back to that exact day, right? And
Yeah.
first off, that was like the first day of the first TV thing that I ever did.
Yeah.
And like it was after all kinds of other madness, but I just remember seeing like the crane and the rooftop thing and like I hate heights. I
Yeah.
don't do it. That's not my thing.
Yeah.
And and on top of that, I'm like, this just doesn't seem like a great idea for
Yeah.
day one. Like did y'all test it? You
Yeah.
just got here, it was one of those things.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, I guess it makes every day interesting. I think that like it's almost like if you're an adult, it's almost like going back to like days when you were in school and like anything could happen at school. So it had some, but like at the office or like if you work just like a pretty routine job, like
Mm.
it kind of is for the most part. What is
Yeah.
even tattooing has it's like I've done so many extremes that it almost is routine. Like
Yeah.
now things don't surprise me. It
Yeah.
wouldn't be like if you came in with this off the wall story, I'm like desensitized to all that.
Yeah.
So it definitely breaks up the routine. However, like, your schedule's different out there. You never know, what's going to be happening or who's going to be there, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And in the latest show, what are you going to be tattooing? Because that was,
Mm. So
you know,
besides like the TV stuff and the tattooing, like what are things that you like to do like outside of that shit, like all the entertainment stuff, like when Dollars is Jordan, what is
yeah.
something that he enjoys doing?
I like to knit. I like table tennis.
I love that
I
too.
like opening Wonka bars, trying to find that golden ticket.
That's it.
Um, no, I like. I feel like honestly, I've been so consumed with like the mix of art, business, and parenting that I've kind of lost touch with a lot of like my hobbies.
Mm.
And I just rather I do things just to fill time. So like I'd like to say I'm a movie buff, but I do think a lot of that was just like, bro, you got home really late. You're gonna watch a movie, fall asleep.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I used to really enjoy like songwriting and making and recording music. Then my dreams were shot and my heart was ripped out. But that's another episode and conversation.
Yeah.
I'm like Joe Exotic, just underheard, man.
Yeah. Yo, you big on podcasts right now, bro? Like, what's your favorite
Yeah,
podcast?
bro. Oh my gosh, I listen to a bunch. I listen to all right. So, the Joe Budden podcast is one of my favorite. JBP. I like the Mike Tyson, the Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson.
Mm.
I like Joe Rogan's. That one's good. Then I listen to this one, the Psychology podcast. I listen to like I not specific like murder mystery ones, but like just every once in a while I'll run across one. But there's none that I'm like. I've listened to a bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, man. That's like one of my favorite things to do. Just
Yeah.
listen to those.
Yeah, I like podcasts, bro. I think just
Yeah, what do
listening
you
to a lot
listen
of
to?
people
What
talking,
are
bro.
yours?
They drop a lot of gems, bro. Like I love the Breakfast Club and shit. Like I listen to them.
I I do, but I do see how like for me like there's because I know the limitations.
Mm.
I feel like I like the idea that on Mike Tyson's podcast like really doesn't have a lot of rules restraining him,
Yeah,
So
that's true.
like anything could happen.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you see the shit with him and Whack 100? Was that staged or what, bro? Like,
oh yeah, that was staged. They talked
okay.
about it
Oh,
later.
see, I was
Yeah,
like, what the fuck, bro?
yeah, no, they
Whack
did.
100,
See,
Mike Tyson, bro. That's some
that's
crazy shit.
look, that's probably my hobby, believe it or not, ladies and gents.
Mm.
I like read a lot of this like rapper stuff. I
Yeah.
don't know, I like
Yo,
it.
are
I
you
think
seeing
it,
what?
it
Are you
mm,
seeing what's going on right now with Young Chop?
that guy's wild, man.
Yeah.
He's out of control.
Yeah.
That's bad for your health, all of that. That's crazy.
How do you feel about like like his antics right now and like just shit that's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like where like people like doing because like real shit. We all know that he's promoting something, right? Because like he wasn't doing the shit before. He was dropping something, and everybody was saying that shit before like a
You
week
know, I
ago.
would say that, but then I think about people like Kodak and like just knowing people like Kodak. Like that's just who he is. Like, you know what I mean? I don't think there were ever antics for him. I
Yeah.
think that to be honest with you, it's kind of like it. It's almost like people get so caught up in like entertaining people that
Hmm.
they like put themselves at risk. That's
Yeah.
wild. Like,
So like,
you gotta have some boundaries.
how do you feel about 6ix9ine coming out and shit? And like, what do you think? Like, you think he's gonna have a music career and shit after this shit? Do you think
Um,
people are gonna care enough or no?
so first off, like I can't condone it, and I think it's just, and that could be a toxic, mindset I have and stuff
Yeah.
like that. But that's just like it's a quality I can't really rock with.
Yeah.
But and like part of the reason that like I think a lot of people consumed his music was just like they were waiting for it to explode, and they were like, "Yo, this kid's wild. He's out of control." Um, but I do think he's still gonna have a music career, probably even just off of the fact that people are curious.
Mm-hmm.
Like what are you gonna do when you get out? Like
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be enough alone just to give him the spark that he needs to kind of
Yeah.
drop a
It's
record.
crazy. Like,
That content's gonna be crazy though.
yeah, bro, they're waiting on it, bro. I know. Whatever he's gonna plan on doing first, they're gonna jump in and
And we
make
look,
it.
the rest of the world may not, but when that headline comes across that like in a song he listed off everybody who got indicted and was like, haha,
Yeah.
like you're gonna hear the
Yeah.
verse maybe and you're like, huh, did he really? He's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's that's some shit, bro. I feel like as a parent too, like what's it like being a parent and a tattoo artist and stuff? Is there any like is there any like you get looks and shit for being a tattoo artist with your kids and
I gotta say, that's definitely a thing. And depending, I've definitely been places with him where you get the I don't it started as a joke, but I've heard some people like kind of stare at me seriously, like you're not gonna let him get tattoos right now, are you?
yeah.
He's five, It's like, no, I'm still a human being. I waited, like
Yeah.
take it easy. Um, that and then like I also found that because like my son's really cute and I'm not. So like when you're out in public and if he does something bad, I'm his parent, so I see past the cuteness to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't raise my voice at my son in the Publix. Like
Yeah.
it'd be like child abuse, it's so funny because it's like he's so smart and he's caught on to it. So that's his leverage through life. And he's winning so far. He's undefeated. He's like, I'll never get in trouble. Like
Yeah.
I'm just too cute for it.
Yeah. Jackson's the king, man. For real, for real.
Oh man,
Yeah.
thank you,
So
brother. Thank you.
what's it like having like what's the work schedule like for having like a child and stuff? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, thank goodness. Like I feel like Jackson's mom and I do a really good job of like working together because we're both entrepreneurs, and I feel like it's we have to make it's gonna sound crazy, but
Mm-hmm.
like you really do have to take yourself out of the hustle and bustle of work, and trying to provide
Yeah.
and spend time and be a good parent and things like that. I think it's easy to get caught up in the like, yeah, like I hear you trying to play with me with Legos, but like I gotta make the money to get you Legos, like
Yeah. Yeah.
things like that. And it sounds really crazy when you get out of those moments. I feel like, and that might not be everybody, but that's definitely been a struggle. But like I feel like I also being an entrepreneur have a lot of time. So when I get to whenever I do have him, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not working, of course. So it's usually all him. The only time that used to get caught up was like when I'd schedule. So, I'd be trying to play with him and book people's appointments, and that'd get hectic. And, I think life is all about finding a good balance.
Yeah, yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah, I bet it must be hectic with scheduling and all that crazy stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I've had to a lot too. I just feel like
How do you feel
I'm a workaholic.
how do you feel like about like the art and how it inspires him? Like, do you see any inspiration like with him artistically because of like how much you get to like he gets to watch you?
Absolutely. What's funny is I don't even know if he's interested or not, but just by default, because like, especially during this quarantine, like if we run out of video games and videos and like, we've done our educational stuff. Like the only thing I really can offer you right now, son, is art.
Yeah.
So he's like, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah.
And in result, I think just by default, the fact that he's doing it so frequently is gonna like make him dope.
Yeah.
But I also like don't want to force my thing on him because I think it'd be really cool to find his thing.
Yeah.
But I just don't want him bringing home arts and crafts from school expecting me to think that they're all right
Yeah.
when I have the eye of a fine artist. No, there's a balance. No.
Shit, man. What do you think the first thing you're gonna do once this shit's over, like the quarantine, and you get to go freely out without having to stay 6 feet from people and all of that stuff?
First,
What
all
do you?
right. So the first thing that determines like it's what habits I pick up during this time while I'm in here.
Mhm.
Because if I get an eating habit, it could be like, yo, Krispy Kreme's opening back up, and I'm hitting
Yeah.
it. It could be anything. No, well, but first off, I think that just being, not tattooing for so long, that's gonna be a default that I'm just gonna end up desperately running. So I think stop one is like to go get supplies and
Mhm.
get the shop back ready
Get
and
back to work. I
give
see.
back. But it sounds a little sick when we talk about it, right? It sounds
Yeah.
like, man, I'm giving you vacation, and
Mhm.
you're already just like, man, I gotta get back there. I gotta
Yeah.
get on the ground. But I
Yeah.
really do love what I do.
Yeah. I feel like, man, you got to, bro. When you hit a certain level, bro, it's because you just know how to zone out. What do you think, like, it is about, like, being an artist that, like, make, like, that zone out when people say, like, yo,
Oh,
I
the
out, I get
flow
my,
state.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we get in
What do
that
you think, what
zone
does it take an artist to get to that point? You know what I'm saying?
to get lost in something, right?
Yeah.
he, that I think is like I think if you got those that's like one of those mysteries to life, right? Like if you could channel it all the time whenever you want, you'll never have writer's block or not know what to draw or things like that in your time. It's like your muse.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that repetition creates that. I think that all right, for example, this is a weird one, but like I wash the dishes a lot and I get like lost in it, right?
Yeah.
But I think I don't think I enjoy washing dishes. I just think that I've been doing it so long, like from chores in childhood,
Hmm.
that you just eventually it just becomes like kind of this routine thing you do and space out because
Yeah.
you rather. But I don't know. It's interesting. But on the other end, I think about when I was a kid and I'd play video games and like I don't know what's going on in the rest of the world, but I was like
Mm.
in this video game, and that focus. I try to channel that when I tattoo.
Yeah. Cause that's definitely a place where like artists like create some of the craziest moments, and it's like maybe if like we could sit down and like think about like what encourages those moments and like how we feel in those moments to like be able to re-trigger them. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
it's like I believe it
But
does have a
that's
lot to
because
do
the
with repetition.
government doesn't want you. Yeah, this interview's taking a turn. The government
Yeah.
doesn't want you.
So back to that question, man. That what's the craziest thing you would say that you've done that it's just like I don't know moral
I
value,
know
but
what story you're fishing at. I
yeah,
do.
yeah.
I
I'm
do.
trying to fish it out of you real quick.
So watch me throw this story out here and relieve all accountability.
Yeah.
So a long time ago, I worked at this tattoo shop at it was like on the top floor of like this main road, and a lot of people would walk down it or whatever, and we'd get bored. First off, I was very young,
How young
I'll
were
put
you,
this
bro?
out here. Very young. All right. Like, I'm not old enough to drink, that's for sure. So like 19, maybe 20. So immature, young. And like we get bored. All right. So some people get bored egg houses or TP things, or I don't know, kids do all kinds of weird stuff. But myself and my devious group of friends decided it'd be okay to put a little bit of poop inside of a dollar bill and leave it on the sidewalk and see if like anybody pick it out. And here's the thing. It was a social experiment first off. It was strictly science. Again, 19.
Yeah.
I'm grown up. And you know what? I think karma one day is gonna get me with a good old $100 bill with like a steamer in it. And I'm gonna just pocket it. But all right, in my experience, let me give you the results of this experiment.
Yeah. Break it down.
I feel like
Has there been a what? How many people have kept the dollar and how many people have
all right,
thrown it away?
statistically, this is called poop dollar, by the way. No, statistically,
Poop
and first
dollar.
off, I want to let you guys know that demographically, this was first off, we're talking a single, and this wasn't like a desperate need. So you had to go out of your way. It was like kind of tussled off, and like I think the only way that you would end up with a bad experience is if you were trying to be sneaky, right? Like and make sure it wasn't your dollar, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
So like you'd have some people who would like walk by, not break a stride, and they go. And look, all right. First off, I guess I need to give a count on how many times this was done because this is bad.
Yeah.
I think like total we ran like 4 rounds, but oh gosh, foul.
Yeah.
And again, my karma's coming, and it'll be in something
How
I
many?
love
How many people kept the dollar though?
a lot. A lot of people kept the dollar, and that was the stuff. That's where we realized this is a bad gig. It wasn't like we just put $1 out there. This costs money. This definitely was an expensive.
Yo.
But that just tells me that like I need to prepare for my son, and I just realized that like we do a lot of stupid stuff as young men, and that's the tip of the iceberg now that I think about it.
So from poop dollar to where Dollarz is now, you know what I'm saying? And like where do you see Dollarz like career going in the next 5 years? Where do you want to see yourself? You know what I'm saying?
um, not here, not in my crib right now. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
quarantined out. No, honestly, as long as I, I'm actually excited. I like the idea that I can hold no predictions. I just know like kind of what I want to be, end game, and that kind of just guides me. So I'm almost excited to see how far I get in 5 years.
Mm.
But I know that in the meantime, as long as I stay dedicated to my craft and growing, getting better, I'll get to see. But hopefully, I'm really good and beyond my expectations.
Yeah. Man, well, I truly appreciate you Dollarz popping into the live, bro, and
All right.
always showing
Before I
love
get
for the
you
focus,
before I
man.
get you off the line,
Yeah.
you said that the check was gonna clear, and I know it's a weekday.
No, it's because of this coronavirus. It's something's fucked up with the Cash App. I don't know. I'll let you know about it though. You know what I'm saying? Because
Here's
like,
the thing that I need this $15,
yeah.
and are we on still?
Oh
This
yeah.
is on?
I think we're off. I think we're.
No, bro, it's always
You
dope
already know, bro.
conversations, brother.
Yeah, bro, I appreciate you for real, Brody. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And this is us signing off, man. Yeah. Forever Focus Media, Dollarz in the building, man. Stay tuned for tomorrow because tomorrow we do got Weasel popping into the live. TV Maestro. You know what I'm saying? He gonna pop that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I just appreciate everybody that's, fucking with us and popping into the live and all that good shit. Follow us. Yeah. Yeah.